Elena sat alone on the old wooden bench behind her grandmother's house, the same bench worn smooth by decades of weather and whispered prayers. She remembered being 8 years old, running barefoot through the grass while her grandmother laughed softly behind her, telling her that joy was a kind of light God placed inside every child. But now, at 28, Elena felt like that light had dimmed into a faint ember, barely alive, barely warm, flickering against the cold wind that had become her life. The night was quiet, almost unnaturally so. Even the crickets seemed tired. Above her, the sky stretched wide and indifferent, scattered with stars that looked too distant to care. Elena pulled her knees to her chest, exhaling shakily. All day she had fought tears, swallowing them down like bitter medicine. Now, with no one watching, she let them fall freely. "God, are you still there?" she whispered, though part of her wasn't expecting an answer. Her voice cracked, fragile like glass under pressure. "Because I feel like I'm fading. And I don't know how much more I can take." The truth was, it hadn't been just one bad day, it had been years of slow-breaking moments. The job she loved had been cut. Her savings drained faster than she could replenish them. Friends had drifted away as their lives moved forward while hers froze in place. And then there were the silent battles, the kind no one ever saw. The nights she lay awake staring at the ceiling, the mornings she felt too heavy to rise, the hours she spent wondering if maybe she simply wasn't meant to be happy. A cold wind rushed through the backyard, sweeping her hair across her face. She shivered, until, suddenly, the wind softened. It was as though someone had placed a warm blanket around her shoulders, but there was no blanket, no person, nothing visible at all. Still, something was there. It settled gently, like a warm hand resting on her back. She froze, startled by the unexpected comfort. It didn't frighten her. Instead, it felt familiar, like a memory she couldn't quite reach. "Elena." She lifted her head. The voice was quiet, not booming or fearsome, not the kind one would expect from the heavens. It sounded more like a whisper carried on the breath of the wind, a sound that bypassed her ears and settled directly into her heart. "Elena, my light is resting on you to strengthen your heart." Her eyes overflowed. She covered her mouth to hold in the sob that rose up without warning. She knew that voice, not because she heard it often, but because in the hardest moments of her life, after her father died, when she lost her home, when she thought she would break, she had felt it. Not loud, not obvious, but always present, always steady. "I don't know what to do anymore," she whispered, wiping her tears with trembling hands. "I feel like everything is falling apart. And I can't keep pretending I'm okay." "You don't have to pretend," the voice said gently. "I did not create you to hide your wounds. I created you so I could heal them." Elena's shoulders shook. She inhaled deeply, the breath breaking halfway through. "I'm not strong enough. That is why I am giving you my strength," the voice replied. "You are tired. Your heart feels worn. But my light is resting on you, not to blind you, but to lift you. Not to push you forward, but to carry what you cannot carry alone." She closed her eyes, and suddenly memories poured through her like warm light breaking into a dark room, memories she hadn't realized were evidence of something divine. She saw herself walking home late one night, exhausted after a double shift, when a stranger stopped her from crossing a street seconds before a speeding car raced past. She remembered losing a job that devastated her at the time, only to learn months later that the entire company collapsed from corruption. Losing that job had saved her from destruction she never saw coming. She remembered being at her lowest, sitting in her room crying silently, when her phone lit up with a message from an old friend she hadn't spoken to in years. "You were on my mind today. Are you okay?" A message that had stopped her from making a decision she would never be able to reverse. She remembered all these things, and for the first time, she saw the thread that connected them. She saw the invisible hand that had been guiding her, shielding her, carrying her, even when she believed she was walking alone. "Why now?" she asked shakily. "Why are you speaking now?" "Because your heart has grown weary," God answered. "And I came to remind you that you are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not abandoned. I have been with you in every moment, seen and unseen. But tonight, I speak so you may know it." The warmth around her deepened, almost like a soft glow sinking into her chest. It didn't erase the pain, but it steadied her. It grounded her. It wrapped around her like a promise. My light is resting on you, God continued. To strengthen what has grown weak. To give courage to what has been shaken. To rebuild what has been broken. Elena swallowed, her throat tight. But I don't see anything getting better. You don't need to see it, the voice said. You only need to trust me. Just as the sun rises whether or not you watch it, so will your blessings. I work in silence. I move in shadows. I prepare what you cannot yet imagine. A soft breeze brushed her cheek like a comforting touch. You only need today's strength today, God said. I will give you tomorrow's strength tomorrow. Her heart constricted. Not from pain this time, but from release. From the sudden realization that maybe she didn't need to control everything. Maybe she didn't need to understand the path, only follow the one who was lighting it. She breathed deeply, and for the first time in months, her breath didn't shake. Thank you, she whispered, voice raw but honest. And the warm presence around her seemed to rest gently against her heart, as if answering her without words. The night was still dark. Her problems were still real. Her life had not magically transformed. But something inside her had shifted. She felt held. She felt seen. She felt strengthened. And though she didn't know what tomorrow held, she felt, for the first time in a long time, like she could face it. Because she wasn't facing it alone. The next morning arrived quietly, with sunlight slipping through Elena's curtains like soft fingers touching her shoulder. She woke slowly, blinking into the warm glow. The heaviness she'd been carrying for months hadn't vanished, but it had changed. It was no longer a weight drowning her. It felt more like a burden she wasn't holding alone anymore. She sat up and inhaled deeply. The air felt different, lighter, cleaner, as if the world had shifted just a little while she slept. She didn't wake with dread pressing on her chest like usual. Instead, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time, the faint but undeniable presence of peace. Quiet, subtle, fragile, yet real. Elena made coffee slowly, watching the steam rise like a small miracle. She held the warm mug in her hands, letting it comfort her. She didn't rush. She didn't check her phone right away. She simply breathed. But eventually, curiosity nudged her, and she unlocked her phone. The screen lit up with a new email notification, another company declining her application. Once, this would have crushed her, sent her spiraling, broken her heart a little more. Today, she placed the phone face down on the table and whispered softly, I trust you. Those 3 words felt like lifting a stone from her chest. Later that morning, she decided to drive into town to buy fresh bread. The world outside looked exactly as it always had. Cars passing, people walking dogs, shopkeepers sweeping storefronts. But something inside her had awakened. She noticed beauty she had overlooked for months. The way sunlight shimmered on the pavement, the laughter of 2 children racing bicycles, the distant sound of church bells. She wasn't healed completely, but she was present again. Halfway through her drive, her car suddenly stuttered. The engine coughed, sputtered, and died completely as she rolled to a stop at a red light. Panic shot through her chest, old anxiety rising like a reflex. No, not today, she whispered. Please, not today. Cars honked behind her. Pressure tightened in her lungs. For a moment, she felt the old fear clawing its way back. Then she closed her eyes and breathed. Slow, steady, remembering the voice from the night before. My light is resting on you to strengthen your heart. This time, she didn't fall apart. She didn't break. She simply whispered, okay, God. Show me what to do. When she opened her eyes, a man in a mechanic's uniform was tapping on her window. Need help? He asked kindly. Within minutes, he'd popped open the hood, checked a few things, and nodded. Fuel pump overheated. Happens sometimes in older models. Lucky for you, I was heading to another job just 2 blocks away. Lucky. Elena almost smiled. She knew better. While the mechanic worked, she stepped aside onto the sidewalk. That's when she noticed an elderly woman across the street, struggling to lift several grocery bags at a bus stop. People walked past her, too busy with their own schedules to notice she was barely managing. Elena felt a gentle nudge inside her spirit, soft but unmistakable. Go help her. Without overthinking it, without her usual hesitation, she crossed the street. Here, let me take some of those, Elena said softly. The woman looked up, startled at first, then incredibly grateful. "Oh, dear, thank you. I didn't think anyone would stop. Where are you headed?" "My daughter's house," the woman replied, her voice trembling slightly. "She's been very sick lately, and I'm bringing her some food I cooked." Elena didn't even hesitate. "I'll carry them for you. Lead the way." As they walked, the woman talked, slowly, with pauses for breath, about her daughter, about her late husband, about the loneliness she tried not to feel. Elena listened with a tenderness she was surprised to find in herself. Every word the woman spoke felt like a reminder that everyone carried invisible burdens. "You're an angel," the woman said softly as they reached the little house on the corner. Elena smiled, shaking her head. "No, just strengthened." Inside the house, Elena met the woman's daughter, pale but smiling gratefully from her bed. Helping them didn't fix Elena's life, but it filled her with something she had been missing: purpose. By the time she returned to her car, the mechanic had finished. "You're all set," he said, wiping his hands on a towel. "Should have been a bigger job, but it turned out to be an easy fix. I'll only charge you half." "Half? Again? No coincidence." "Thank you," she said sincerely. As she drove home, she felt a quiet glow spreading inside her chest, as if the warmth from the previous night had followed her into the day. Every moment that morning, every small coincidence, every gentle nudge, every unexpected blessing, felt woven together with a purpose she couldn't deny. That evening, as the sky softened into shades of amber and pink, Elena returned to the old wooden bench behind her grandmother's house. The same place where everything had shifted. She sat, breathing in the cool air, and whispered, "God, thank you." The wind stirred, soft and warm, like an embrace. "Elena," God's voice came again, gentle as before, "today you thought you faced trouble. But it was not trouble, it was guidance. It was strength revealed through small things." Tears welled in her eyes, but they were warm, peaceful tears. "I strengthened you," God continued, "so you could stand when fear returned. So you could help when someone else needed hope. So you could remember who you were when you forget your worth." Elena closed her eyes, letting the warmth settle inside her. It didn't overwhelm or blaze, it glowed, steady and constant. "My light is not just resting on you," God said softly. "It is working through you, healing you, restoring what life tried to take. You will rise from this season, not broken, but rebuilt. Not weaker, but wiser. Not forgotten, but chosen." A soft breeze brushed her cheek again, tender as a kiss. She placed her hand over her heart, feeling its steady beat. A beat that no longer trembled. A beat strengthened by something far greater than she'd ever carried alone. "I believe you," she whispered. And as the sun dipped behind the horizon, filling the world with quiet gold, she felt it. The presence, the warmth, the light resting on her. Just as he promised.